Need help with formatting orders for Textbroker clients? Not really sure on how to add HTML code for headers and such? I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary, and today I'm going to show you how to format your content for Textbroker clients. Now let me start with saying that every client is different regarding how they want their content created. Some may not want HTML coding in their order. I have had a couple like this. However, there's a style of formatting that is almost universally accepted. Let me show you some of the basics you need to know to write Textbroker orders. Okay, the reason why this looks a little bit different than what you're probably used to is because I'm using WordPress. And I use WordPress to create content for just about every client I come across. The reason why I use WordPress is because I have far more tools at my disposal and I can arrange it for SEO. So the first thing I want to cover is the H1 tag. Now the H1 tag is usually reserved for titles of blog posts and content. In Textbroker, you would just add your title directly to the system's headline text field that it has. At that point, Textbroker will automatically assign the H1 tag for you. But sometimes you'll get clients who don't want the title of the piece in the headline title. Instead, they want the article title or the order title. In fact, I'm on a team where they want the order's name in the headline and then your own title in the article itself. In that case, you'd use the H1 tag, which would look something like this. So the only things I would have to do code-wise is add the H1 tags to the beginning and end of your title. But since we're not going to worry about that, we'll just go ahead and delete that. Now the next part to formatting is going to be your intro, and that's this section right here, right after the title. Now the intro is usually about 100 to 120 words, maybe like 2 or 3 sentences long. This intro is used to address the issue that the reader is having and kind of describing how you're going to help. Think of it like a teaser. Like you'd see the teaser trailers for like movies and stuff. Well, they'll break down the plots and what you're going to get out of it, but they won't really go deep into what you're actually going to watch. Then after your intro is going to be the H2 tag, which is a subheading. Now H2 is directly related to the H1. It's part of the header hierarchy. So in this example, I created an article of how to add themes to WordPress, and then my subheading is 4 steps to install WordPress themes. This lets the reader know that there's 4 steps that they need to install WordPress, obviously. Now this could be just about any heading you want. It depends really on the content you're creating. Now the next thing you want to do is the H3 tag. Now the H3 tags are directly related to H2, not necessarily to H1. So in this example, I've got 4 steps to install WordPress themes. My first H3 tag would be step 1, and then I would, put in whatever step it was. Then under that, you would create your content just like you normally would for your subheading. But what if you wanted to add list items? Now list items in Textbroker are kind of a pain in the ass to create. Personally, I prefer typing it out rather than trying to figure out the damn system. But then again, I've been using HTML since 1998, so it kind of comes naturally to me. But if you don't know, the UL tag is for unordered lists. Now you start your list item table with the UL and then the /UL, that ends it. Then your middle, you're going to have LI for list item, then your list item that you want to put in, and then you end the list item with a slash. Now you can put in as many of these as you want, as long as you use the LI tag to keep going, and then the UL ends it. So when you have this, it looks like that in the actual article. It's a bulleted point, unordered list. So let's go back to the text screen. Now OL is for ordered list. This is what creates numbers when you create list items. It works the exact same way as the unordered list with the LIs on either side, and then you end it with the OL. And this one looks like that with the numbers. See, there's a difference between points and numbers. Now let's go back to the text screen, and then you keep going with your H3 tags for the next step, and so on and so forth, and then you add your content as you're doing it. Now H4 is a tag that is directly related to the H3 above it. So like in this case, I would have step 4, yada yada yada, and then I would have like site information regarding this specific step. So in that, you'd use the H4 to begin it, and then the /H4 to end it. Now you can have as many of these as you want, depending on the topic and the content that you're creating, but all of these will reflect this one step only. It does not do anything for H3 up here or for the different steps. So if you're going to use H4, make sure it's underneath the exact subtopic that you want it to cover. Then at the end of the article, most clients are going to want a conclusion, so you have your H2 again. What this does is that it separates the conclusion from the rest of the steps because it's a higher up on the hierarchy. So instead of an H3, I'll do an H2, and that essentially makes it bigger on the screen, so it's pretty obvious what you're trying to say. So like in the visual here, you see that the font sizes is much bigger. It's more pronounced than the rest of the article except for the 4 steps to install WordPress themes. So I'm going to go back to the text, and the conclusion is essentially the summary of the article you just wrote. It should be about the same length as your intro. Now some clients will ask for a call to action. In that case, you'd like put something like click here for more information, or leave a comment, contact us on social media, whatever it is the client wants. Sometimes they don't ask for a call to action. In that case, you don't have to worry about it. You just write your conclusion, summarizing the content of the entire topic. And that's all you need to do. Now for bold and italicized, Textbroker's editing system does do those pretty well. You just highlight whatever words you want to bold. So like this here, and you just hit the B. And I know this is WordPress, but on Textbroker it's the same. You just hit B and then boom, it'll automatically add the coding for you. So once the content is created, I would just highlight the entire thing, copy it, and then paste it directly into Textbroker and submit the article. Of course, you want to make sure that you have your keywords in there that the client wants. In that case, what I would normally do is go to the bottom and just add the keywords. So like say if they wanted WordPress themes as a keyword, I would put it in the article at the bottom so that I remember that I need to add that. So that is pretty much the nuts and bolts of turning in an order in Textbroker for formatting purposes. It's not all that difficult, and once you've done a few of them, it becomes second nature. So is it really necessary to add all those extra H3 and H4 tags? Not necessarily. Some clients would be happy with just the basic H2s all the way down. Now for content that's less than 1,000 words, this is probably more of a realistic way to format the article, but that's again completely up to the client. Most of the content that I've created in Textbroker have used nothing but just the simple H2 tags to highlight each different section I was writing. I have added the bullet list a few times and bold and italicized certain words, but for the most part, the H tags, all you have to do is worry about H2. That's the basics of how you format orders in Textbroker. Remember that every client is different and some of them might not want you to use HTML. But if they don't explicitly say as much, it's always better to err on the side of caution and add the coding yourself. What areas of the order format confuse you the most? Do you think that Textbroker's editing system could use a facelift? Personally, I think Textbroker ought to implement a much easier to use interface for creating content. I would add things like a spell checker, a grammar checker, and making it easier for writers to add the headers themselves. Adding the H tags isn't really all that difficult, but it is a bit time consuming, especially when you consider how often you have to do it. If there was just a simple tool in there where you just highlight the text and hit a button, then all the better. I mean, even the bullet list system in Textbroker is a little bit on the wonky side. If you find the video informative, hit the like button. If you want to learn more about Textbroker, freelance writing, or any of the other subjects I cover, hit the subscribe button. And if you need further help on formatting in Textbroker, leave it in the comments down below. I think that's going to do it for me today. I'll see you tomorrow.